introduce yourself to the show, man. I want my audience and my people to know who you are, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I am Jason Lamar. You can find me on Instagram at the Jason Lamar, YouTube and TikTok as well. All the same thing. Southern California originally, living in Phoenix now. I am a mindset, fitness, and nutrition coach.
Man, that's the one, man. That's the one. A
Yes,
lot of us
sir.
are getting into that game now. We're trying to help flip lives, you know. 'Cause a lot of people need help. They're lost.
Yeah, 1000%. There's really nothing better that you could do than, show other people what's helped you turn your life around. It's not a lot of guidance out there, so.
Nah, man. I wish this was around sooner when I was younger. I was in the fitness industry, personal training. And one thing I could take from that I remember was people would open up to me, bro. I remember I would talk to my wife I feel like a psychologist. I'd know everybody's deepest, darkest secrets in that hour. And then they get comfortable with you over time. And they just start opening up, from relationship intimacy problems to financial problems to personal problems to just everything in life. And I used to be like, this poor person's a mess. They need the gym. They need me. I'm like their therapist/trainer.
Yeah, 1000%. I spent a few years personal training as well, and same thing. People just open up to you. They tell you everything that's going on. They tell you all their fears and their hopes, and it's kind of wild. You become like you said, like a therapist as well as a trainer. So it's really a all around service that you're providing. But people need that.
Yeah, they do. They need it more than ever, and it's crazy because I always say this: it's hard sometimes getting through to men because we're egotistical and prideful animals. But knowing that we're destroying ourselves, we need help. But when we tell them, they get mad about it. They don't like to be called out. Because I'm older, I didn't like to be called out, and I've been called out before. And I look back yep, they were right. I wasn't mad at them. I was mad at myself because they're right.
Yeah, exactly. I did the same thing. I needed to hear what I wasn't doing, but I didn't want to hear it because no one could tell me nothing for a while, especially when I was younger. People point out anything that I was doing, I would just go off like there was something wrong with them for pointing it out to me. But deep down, I knew it was because they were right about me, and I just didn't want to hear what they had to say. I just wasn't in a position to change it right then.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, bro, your background, where you grew up. You're an LA guy. We talked a little bit on the phone. You spent some time a little bit over on the East Coast, correct?
Yeah, Charlotte, North Carolina. I lived for about 11 years. So I'm from California originally, southern, right outside of Los Angeles. Day after I graduated high school, I was 18 years old. I moved to Charlotte. My dad got a job out there, and I was actually on probation at the time, and one of the conditions of my probation was that I had to live with my parents. So I'm almost 100. He never said anything, but I'm 100% certain that the reason he went out there was to get me away from all the people I was around while I was in California. And I was still young and dumb, though. It didn't work. So as soon as I got there, I found some other people to do some dumb shit with and continued on with that for a few more years. But I can say, looking back, I was very upset moving away. But looking back on it, it was the best thing for me because if I had stayed where I was, I would have been in a much worse position than I ever found myself in Charlotte.
So, yeah, because you grew up kind of probably similar to me, I'd say. You probably grew up in gang culture, lightweight. You probably grew up around the neighborhood. Because you said you're from, what area are you from again?
Altadena originally.
Okay.
I went to school in Baldwin Park and West Covina.
Oh yeah. That's the hood out there.
Yeah.
So how was life in Charlotte for you out there?
You know what? Charlotte was, the first few years I was out there, I was running around mad that I had to be there, and I didn't really make the most of it or take it for what it was, and I just found the first people that I could who were doing some dumb shit. And when you're running around with that type of mindset, those are the people that you attract. Those are the first people that I found is people who are on the same shit that I was on. So, and that's a great example there of you get what it is that you attract. So it was cool, but after a little while of doing that, I realized this wasn't really for me, and I need to start turning my life around. And it was out there that I started to really get things together. Is where I first started to get good actual jobs where I was making actual money, and I was actually able to make something for myself. Bought my first place out there at a little condo, nothing crazy, but I owned it. And I have nothing but good things to say about Charlotte, but when I was out there first, I was very displeased.
Yeah, I heard a lot of good things about Charlotte, bro. Is it coastal, if I'm not mistaken?
No, it's 4 hours from the beach.
Oh, okay.
So it's more coastal than some things, but it's pretty inland. North Carolina is on the coast, but Charlotte itself is not.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting, man, that you got to experience like, because I've never done that. I've never got to experience like, other than me going away to do some fair time, I never got to experience living out of state. You know what I'm saying? I only lived in a prison out of state in Oregon. So you actually got to live in two different places, experience two different cultures. And a lot of us don't get that. Like, so it's a good experience you got.
Yeah, it was very different too from what I was expecting because I spent my whole life in California, so I kind of just thought that it was going to be an extension of California, just somewhere different. So to get down there and see exactly how different it was, how different the people were, even how different people dressed, how different people talked, how different people thought or handled things, or the speech, all of it. So it was an interesting thing to be immersed in. But I also think that me being from the West and having spent so much time in the South is a large part of the reason that I am who it is that I am now, and I have the worldviews that I do. So I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, it kind of gave you different perspectives, man. It kind of molded you into the person you are today because you came from Cali, you came with your swag. They probably were intrigued, like, who's this dude? Oh, he's from like LA area, because all they know, SoCal, they think LA. You know what I'm saying? They don't know the little different areas, the little different pockets. It's Orange County. I mean, there's San Bernardino, there's the IE. There's so many hoods out there. I got friends from all over the place, and you came with that flavor, so they probably were intrigued by it. Just like you were intrigued on them, they're intrigued by you as well.
Yeah, it was, and I got to experience because when I was in school, people would come over from New York or Chicago or whatnot. It's like, oh, this dude's from out of town. He acts a little different, and then I went over there and got to experience that for myself at being the out of towner. So it was also an interesting experience to have.
It's interesting, though, that you say, man, because I hear you speak a lot online about the energies, how we attract certain energies. And when you said you moved out there, you had this energy by yourself and you attracted that kind of element as well. Like, it's easy to attract it. And I've always been that way, too, since I've been a kid. I've always attracted that street thug, you know what I'm saying, like gangster mentality. Like, I always picked the worst of the worst as friends because those are the kind of dudes I wanted to surround myself with.
Yeah, and that's when you're moving around with that type of energy, you're gonna find that. Like when I was out there, where I was selling weed, where I was smoking weed, it was so easy. You go to a gas station, you could find everyone who had the weed, who wanted the weed, whatever the case may be. But like now, I don't see any of that. Like I don't run into anybody like that. I don't meet anybody doing that because I'm on a whole different wavelength right now. So I know I used to think too that I used to always walk around thinking I was going to have problems every single place that I went to. And every place that I went to, I had problems. And that was just, to me being proven right. But now, as I've grown, as I've learned, I'm able to look back on that and see, okay, this was happening because I was running around with that energy. I was running around looking for that. So it came right to me.
Yeah, you were kind of like, in a weird way, manifesting it. You were searching for it without searching for it, but it always came your way. And I used to say the same thing, like, why is trouble always coming my way? Why always getting into shit? Well, I'm out in the streets. You're out in the streets, it's going to come your way.
Yeah, exactly. You go to certain places, you're gonna get certain things. It's just what comes with it. And then especially when you're in certain places looking for certain things or expecting certain things to happen, where you're watching all the cars to drive by you, eventually one of them is going to notice that. You're gonna have an issue with them just because of that.
Yeah, especially like growing up I don't know how it is now, but if you stare somebody down for too long, like mean mug them, they're going to get at you. You know what I'm saying? Like in Cali, we always like, get at you. Like, what's up, homie? You got a problem? Like, quick, I remember growing up like that. Somebody staring you down for too long, you're in their face.
Yeah, that was a big thing to me transitioning to trying to do stuff is I was always careful not to look at people because I thought if I looked at somebody for too long, then they're going to have a problem because that's just what I was used to. Like, oh, he's staring at me. What the fuck is he looking at? Or I've been approached for that too. Like, what the fuck are you looking at? That's just how you grow up and that's what you look at, what you're used to. So
yeah.
At a certain point, try to transition out of it. You try to avoid that from people because you assume that's what everybody is like. Like I was I worked at a gym selling memberships and I would try to avoid looking at people for too long because I'm like, oh, they're going to think I want problems or something like that.
Yeah. What gym were you selling memberships out of? Out there in Carolina?
Yeah, Charlotte. It was a Lifetime.
Okay. How was that experience? Because you told me a little bit you worked in the gym industry. How was your experience in the gym industry? 'Cause I also did too.
Yeah, it was good, quite honestly. I started off personal training. I worked at a couple gyms, personal training. I worked front desk at a couple gyms too. I worked overnight shift at a Planet Fitness was my first job at a gym. That was an interesting experience because Planet Fitness has a very interesting mantra with their judgment-free zone and all that and don't drop the weights. And at the time, I was in good shape and I was more serious about it, and I thought all of that was weird. How they essentially encourage you not to work out hard. They give you pizza. They got the Tootsie Rolls at the front desk, and they got the bagel morning. So that was weird to me. It was interesting to see, and there would be so many people coming in there with memberships who only popped up once a month for that pizza, or only popped up once a month for those bagels, but you would never see them any of the other time. Or there were some people who would only come there to use the tanning beds. So that's just a different culture in the Planet Fitness. But moving past that, personal training was a great experience. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about other people. And I think that's where my passion for coaching and helping people started off with.
Yeah.
And then in the membership sales side, that's where because Lifetime actually pays pretty decently for that. So that wound up being like my first decently paying job.
So you got to hone in on both. I've only done the personal training side, but it's good. You got both ends. If you got the sales side of it, you got the personal training side. Everybody knows you can be the best trainer on planet Earth with all the fanciest degrees. I worked with trainers with 4-year degrees, all the fanciest degrees. I'm just NASA. I have a few certs, but a lot of times they can't sell ice to an Eskimo. You know what I'm saying? They don't have it.
Yeah, that's a problem with a lot of the personal training gyms is where you go is because your primary job is sales. I mean, I don't know if it works differently now, but when I was in it, your primary job was really sales and training was secondary because you had to sell the people on the training programs and then train them as well.
Yeah, because when I worked for 24, they were big on that. They pushed sales like crazy. Not us, but they would push the salespeople to get the membership. Then they would book an appointment, like a free session, consult, kind of talk to the new members, and it was our job to get them, maybe give them a free session and then close them, But a lot of people are shy, man. It's hard. If you don't have that knack of sales, which I attribute my past to why I was successful as a trainer in selling, because I have that gift of gab, because I've sold drugs in the past, That's what I went to federal prison for. I've been on the corner. I know how to hustle, and a lot of people don't have that about them. It's hard. It's a hard transition for a lot of trainers. They know all the fancy stuff, how to actually train you. They know how to give you the workouts. They know how to structure everything, but they can't sell themselves out of a paper bag.
Yeah, it's very different when you have to convince people that they need to give you the money for your services and they can't just grab something out of a magazine or a book or whatever the case may be. And that I know that comes difficultly to a lot of people, but I think that's because a lot of people aren't really comfortable talking to people, nor are they comfortable asking them for stuff because people don't want to be rejected.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Fear of rejection. And our boss would have us do kind of what we do now, cold calls, if you will, but cold calls on the floor. Like for me, I'd watch members for a while, and I see that they're not working out good. I'd go up to them and just give them tips and advice. I wouldn't even try to sell them. Just, hey, let me just show you something differently. And, I'd offer my time just here and there, and eventually they'd either come up to me. So do you have training, and are you a trainer? Obviously they know I was a trainer, but they would ask me about personal training packages and whatnot. That I said, let me give you a free session, put you through a workout. Let me show you what I can do for you. And that's where I sell them and close them, because you got to give them a little something. You got to give them something in order to get something back in return.
Yeah, 1,000%. I mean, that's with anything, though. You invest in people, you show them that you're actually interested, you provide them some sort of value, then they're definitely much more receptive to want to continue on after that, now that they see that you've taken an actual interest and you actually care to some degree.
So you talked a little bit, we talked a little bit on the phone. You had gotten in a little bit of trouble in your youth, correct?
I did indeed. So,
how was that experience?
It was, looking back on it, I learned a lot more than I did in the time. So it was December 31st, 2005. It was like 10 p.m. right before New Year's. I was 17. I got arrested for a stolen vehicle and weapon possession. I went to YA, Los Padrinos, for a little bit, and they let me out on house arrest. So I actually went to my senior prom on house arrest, and I went through my graduation I got my ankle bracelet off right before my graduation. So it was an interesting experience, but it kind of killed the end of my, people do their senior year stuff. I'm told I didn't get to participate in any of it because I couldn't leave my house. I had to get permission to go down to Long Beach for that. But of course, as soon as I got off, as soon as I was free, as soon as I moved out, moved down to Charlotte, I started doing a bunch of dumb shit again anyway. So I didn't learn any lessons from it immediately. But looking back, I see all of the lessons in it. It gives me a different perspective on the value of being free to move around, being free to leave your house, being free to leave a building, kind of just consequences of your action. You get what it is that you put out into the world. And when you do bad shit, you're going to get bad shit in return. Like you have to pay your debt regardless.
Yeah. No. And the reason I ask, I love dwelling into people's, like going into people's backgrounds and what they've been through, because it's good to reflect back, like where I was back then to where I'm at now, because our past doesn't define us, you know. And if anything, it levels us up. And it's always like you always see the guys online with the underdog stories, like the Wes Watsons and the other, a lot of coaches online. I see dudes that come out of prison and got in real estate and killing the game. It's like, man, I love hearing the stories how society kind of like kicks you down. You got a jacket, because once you're in the system, you got a jacket. You're in a different part of society, a different bracket. But it doesn't mean we got to stay there, you know. And I always said that, like, okay, you got me, but I'm not staying there.
Yeah, you know, I was fortunate enough that mine was when I was a juvenile, so it's not public record anymore. So those are all sealed. So it didn't affect me too much in that realm. But again, I should have learned my lesson then and thought, okay, cool, I got lucky right before I was 18. It worked out, so it's not something that's gonna, you know, drag around with me forever. I should have learned my lesson from that, but I didn't. But you know, you learn things when you need to, and I think exactly what you said is a great point. That just because you were somewhere bad or you've been through bad shit, it doesn't mean that that's somewhere that you have to stay, or it's not going to define the rest of your life. Like, I spent a lot of time thinking that because I made poor decisions when I was younger, that I kind of fucked up any of my opportunities to be anything in life. So it took me a long time to get past that, but it's an important lesson to learn.
And what's crazy is you probably could thank your father now, because had he not moved out of LA or moved to Charlotte, who knows where you would have ended up. Because even like me, the culture I grew up around gang culture. A lot of my friends went to state prison, man, and state prison is a different animal. They politic in there. You know, sometimes you'll go in there with a couple years, 2-3 years, you might get asked to do a job in there. You might end up doing 10 in life in there because they asked you to do something, you know. You might have to remove somebody who's no good, and with removal comes violence, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 1000%. It's. I was actually speaking to somebody about my dad yesterday. I was just looking back on it. I was like, he taught me a bunch of good life lessons that I just wasn't ready to hear at the time. But looking back, I see that a lot of the philosophies I actually have kind of stemmed from things that he taught me or mannerisms that he had. And I also am grateful because, exactly like you said, if we hadn't moved out of there, then I have no idea where I would be now.
Yeah, because we become the product of our environment, man. It's not our fault. It's just we get inspired by the homies in the hood. You see the big homie balling out, then you want that. You see the cars, you see the women, you see the jewelry. You just get inspired by that. That's your inspiration, and then you want that too. And then guess what? You're gonna go commit crimes to get that.
Yeah, exactly. I made a video a little while ago talk about that's one of the big homies. He came out of jail with he had his forearms tatted up. He had the chest piece tattoos, and I was 15 at the time. I was like, oh shit, I want that too. So that's wound up why I got my first tattoos. So it's just the people that you're looking up to, and that's what you see, and it's something different. And he just got out of prison. He got all these dope stories. And he got all these tattoos. Looks crazy. No one else my age has tattoos. But you see the people with the jewelry and the cars and the shoes. It's like, oh, I just want to be like that. So you could try to do what they do. He's selling drugs, he's kicking in doors, whatever the case may be. You don't really care. You just want it. You just want to be a part of something.
Yeah, it's like you want to come out with this validation and respect. Because when they came out of prison, they come out jacked, swole, tatted up, just like you could just see how much love the hood had for them. You could see how the women admired them. Then next thing you know, they're back in the game. Next thing you know, they got money, the cars, and it's like, man, I want that. So stupid. My mentality was, I want to go to the pen too and get swole. I was already lifting weights at a young age, but I was like, I want to get jacked and come out with respect. That mentality was so dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, looking back, like, wow.
Yeah, all of it really is when you look back on it. Like, I was just having a conversation about all of the stuff that I've done, all the bad choices that I've made when I was younger. Like, any crime I may have committed was like, yeah, it was about getting some money, but more so than anything, it was just about, I just want to be a part of some shit. I just want people to tell me that I was down. You know what I mean? And it's such a stupid thing to want to be a part of when you look back. But at the time, that was just anybody telling me that, oh, he's with whatever. Like, I love that shit. And it wasn't even really that I wanted to do it. I just wanted that. I just wanted the credit. I just wanted the stripes. I just wanted the respect that it seemed like you got from it.
Yeah, it's crazy because the risk we put ourselves for that. And at the end of the day, I remember saying, like, you know what, though? I ain't going to join a gang. Something told me not to because I'm an extreme dude. Had I joined a gang and I had done something no coming back from to another kid, I could still be in that environment. I could still be in prison. Guess what? Who's coming to visit you? Who's putting money in your books? Who's taking care of your family? You know what I'm saying? None of that. They forget about you, man. You think they remember about you. Folks forget about you. They only remember you when you get out, when you're all jacked up and got the tattoos. But honestly, very few people, like I said, I did about 3 years in federal prison. Very few people, except my family and close friends, wrote me. The rest, nah, they're all fun and games and cool when you get out though. Like, you know what I mean? It ain't the same.
Yeah, they miss you when you come back, but while you're gone, they don't really give it a second thought. And also, you can tell who really gives a fuck about you, because as soon as you want to start turning your life around, doing something different, then all of a sudden you changed or you switched up or you used to be so down, or it's not any sort of real love or any sort of real respect.
Yeah, no, you're right. So, what other industries you been in? You told me you did a little bit. You dabbled in real estate.
Yeah, I spent maybe about 4 or 5 years of real estate on the investing side. I did some wholesaling. I did some house flipping, mostly wholesaling.
That's crazy because I have thought about. I took a course. I learned from some guys in federal prison about real estate and flipping, and about annexing land. And you take a piece of county property that's close to the city property. You try to annex it into city property because now your land's worth more. I grasped some of it, but I never got out and did it. And then the whole .com or the whole real estate boom in 2008 blew up, but I always got into that industry, but I never, because I'm a salesman. I'm like, I like sales, and I thought I'd be good at it because, same thing with real estate. If you're selling, as long as you have the personality for it, you'll do good. It's all about the personality. People buy into you.
Yeah, 1,000%. If you could sell one thing, if you could sell a gym membership, you could sell a gun, you could sell real estate, you could sell cars, you could sell whatever it is. If you could sell something, you could sell anything. Because at the end of the day, it's just talking to people.
Yeah. Kind of like you got to open them up. You got to have the same interests. You got to just like hit them in the core. Like, what do they like? What do you like? And just vibe on that. And that's what a lot of people do. They buy an emotion. A lot of people don't realize that. You got to get to their emotions. Yeah, they like the house, but they like you. They, for some reason, like you, and then they want to buy the house because they like you. It's a trip.
Yeah, 1,000%. And that's, I mean, most of sales is just built on having good relationships with people, because exactly like you said, they're buying from you more so than buying what it is that they're selling. So it's hard to sell things if nobody likes you. I mean, you could get the people who do the real high pressure sales and kind of just confuse people into buying shit, but that's sustainable for but so long.
So let's fast forward. What made you? So that was like kind of like your life before coaching. But what made you? How did you come about becoming a coach like this online?
Yeah, so I spent, at the end of the real estate thing, I was making a good bit of money, and I transitioned over to, I was doing some stock and some crypto investing. I was making decent money off of that, and I was living comfortably. But I remember back when I was super broke, I told myself that my goal was to just get to a point where I didn't have to work for somebody else, and I could have my house, my car, I could eat what I wanted to, like not have to worry about buying food or paying electric bills or shit like that, and everything would be good. Then I got to that point, and I still felt like life was just unfulfilling. So I looked back at all of the things that I had did and the different stages I was in, various amounts of money that I was making, various levels of success that I had, and I was never really pleased with any of it. And I realized that the common denominator amongst all of those things was myself. So I realized I'm not good with any of these things because I'm not good with me, because I'm not good with where I am. So I started working on me. And that led me to, I came across Wes Watson, you brought up, and he had the coaching program. So I got on that.
When did you come across Wes? Because I came across him around 2020. I actually DM'd him, but not for coach. I just gave him a shout out, like, damn, homie, keep doing your thing, man. That's solid. You've been to prison. I'm following your story. I'm an ex-con too, and you're doing well. I like your story. I was following him when he was doing he was at a San Diego penthouse apartment. He was always talking in the morning.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, this dude's doing it, man. I like that. And I never once thought to reach out to him about the coach, because I was involved in a whole other industry. So what made you get involved?
I came across him end of 2022. I don't know do you know Mike Rashid? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he was on. I don't personally know, but I know who he is. Yeah. Yeah, he was on a podcast with Mike Rashid, and I heard him, and then I checked out some of his stuff, and I kind of just started listening to some of his podcasts and stuff off of that, and pay attention to what he was doing for a while. Then I saw that he had it, because I wasn't on Instagram, so I just saw him on podcasts and whatnot. But then I found out he had a coaching program teaching people how to do what it was that he did, and I liked what it was he was doing. I liked the stuff that he was talking about. I agreed with a lot of his perspectives and stuff that I had come to kind of hold on my own for my own work on myself. And I liked that the fact that he was helping people change their lives resonated with me, and so that's what led me to want to do that.
So you reached out to him. You decided to hire him as a personal development coach?
Yep. No. I didn't do his personal development. I just did the business program.
Oh, the business program.
Yeah, the business coaching. Yep. So that was July of last year.
Okay. Did you, you said you attended one of his masterminds, right?
I did, yeah. End of September in San Diego.
Okay. How was that experience?
Oh, that was a great experience, man. That was a real eye-opening thing. He was there, Triple OG was there, Guerrero was there. I know you did a podcast with him a little while ago. Gas Money. I'm not sure if you know Gas Money.
I only know him online, not personally, but yeah.
Gotcha. He was there, but it was the first time I was around so many people doing it at such a high level in life that who also fully believed in me and what I was doing. And that's the first time that I ever had anybody speak sort of life into something that I was doing. So that was a game changer for me. And then it's one thing to see how people are living online. You know, you see his big giant ass house and you see his 50 cars and all the Rolls Royces and shit. But it's a whole nother thing when you're there in person, when you're actually on the property, when you're around the cars. And when you get to be around that energy in person is a whole different experience. So it's law of exposure, really. Once you see certain things, you can't go back.
Yeah. So how was it being around him? Like you got to personally meet him, talk to him, hang out?
Yeah, it was a great experience. He's a great dude. He's exactly who you see online. He's a little bit more subdued in regular conversations. He's not screaming as much like with his phone, but yeah.
Yeah, of course. We know online, man, he's a certain character, bro. Same thing, like a lot of people who've been behind the fence, as we call it in prison. You can't scream like that behind the fence. You can't talk that kind of crazy. People will get at you quick. It doesn't go down like that. I know what he is. He's selling his program. He's trying to fire people up. He's also trying to let people know, like, listen, man, you need to wake up because you're way down there. Your frequency's down there. You're dead. You need to wake up. You need to rise from the dead. So I get it. I get what he's trying to do, and it's irking a lot of people, though. It's funny how much people get triggered.
Yeah, people get worked up about stuff, but I always say if something that someone's doing upsets you so much, that's more of a reflection of you than what it is that they're doing. But yeah, he has great energy and he's kind of just on go all day. So it was good to see. It was good to be a part of. It was good to experience.
Yeah. So what was it, like a weekend kind of course you guys did?
Yeah, it was, I want to say about 3 days.
Okay. So what did you take from that?
One of the biggest things I took away is the people that you surround yourself with, the people that you spend your time with are such a big thing in your life. And that was one thing I never really paid much attention to when I was young that my dad would tell me about all the time, that be careful who you're around, be careful who you spend your time with, because they shape who it is that you will become so much. But I had never, again, experienced it in such the opposite direction of around people doing that much positive stuff so successfully. And that is just an example of if you really commit yourself and you show up every single day and you be as consistent as no one else is able to, that of where it could take you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see where a lot of those guys have since then where they're going. Like you said, I had Guerrero on the podcast. He gave me a lot of good feedback and tips. You know, I'm doing some things with him right now. Gas Money, I know from online, Triple OG. So I know quite a few of his dudes. I've linked up with Kyle. You've seen I did a podcast with him as well.
Yes.
Kyle puts out some fire, puts out some great energy. Because again,
1,000%.
We all come from somewhere broken, man. One way or another, we all have some like demons that we got to battle, and we're just trying to get through it, man. We're like misfits, bro, just trying to make it in this crazy ass world. That's why I look at it. We're all got our own different personalities. We're all trying to mesh with the world and just find our way, you know, but find the right direction, the right path.
1,000%. And I also think that's the importance of connecting with other people who are like you, because it's really easy to be out places and think that you're the only one who is making the stupid choices and everyone has just had their life together the whole time and you feel like, oh, they don't really know anything about that. But for the most part, everyone's been through some shit. Yeah.
And it's also, I took a tip from him, like a little gem. He recently did a podcast on adversary something. I can't remember the top. I was watching it this morning, having a brain fog. But what he said on that podcast was interesting. He goes, man, I got no friends. I got no friends. All my friends I met online. Surround yourself with the right people. Meet people online. Make friends. That way you're with the right people, guiding you in the right direction. I'm like, that's right, because we're like in a group now. I met Kyle online. I'm vibing with him. There's another dude, Corey, on there. I'm like in a group chat. I met you on there because of Kyle. I'm just starting to meet. I reached out to Guerrero. I'd follow him. He followed me. And just vibing. It's like the universe is bringing us all together in different ways. And there's no competition. We're just all doing our own thing, just trying to spread the message, you know, with our own direction.
Yeah, 1,000%. And exactly what he said, exactly what you said. I've met some of the best people that I've met since I've been online. This is the first time I've ever really met people who really, like, truly, fully believed in what I was doing. Because, you know, you run into people so in real life, and people are quick to try and shoot down your goals or your dreams if they sound like too big or if they're not normal or mainstream. They're quick to kind of try to poke doubts in what it is that you're doing. But since you've been on here, you attract people who are doing the same stuff as you, and it's just everyone builds together, and it's really a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's all we're trying to do, man. We're just trying to build this little empire. Everybody's playing their part, and like you said, it's kind of crazy because since I started doing this, I came out of nowhere. People were like, "Who's this guy?" I've been on IG for like 10 plus years already. I came from the muscle car world, so my page was mainly muscle cars. I'd get on there and talk and stuff. I'm a natural talker, man. I got ADHD. I could talk for hours. I'm an extrovert, but I never thought about this stuff. And I was like, you know what? I've been through some stuff in my life. I feel like what I bring to the table is just my life experiences. I'm a stroke survivor. I was addicted to Xanax real bad 4.5 years ago. It almost cost me my life. So I've been through some stuff that I feel like I could bring to the table and help people out, because I know a lot of men, they need a lot of help, man. They're broken, but they're too prideful, and their ego won't allow them to ask for help. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that's a fact. I think that stands in a lot of people's way because they think that maybe they're the only one that needs help. So they don't want to seem weak in asking for it or trying to reach out for it. And that's another reason a lot of people don't want to admit to the issues that they're having or what it is that they're going through, because maybe they're not ready to change, or they feel like people are going to judge them for not having everything together.
Yeah, and it's just wild because we fought. Like I went to a seminar recently, like a convention, the Aspire event in LA. And there's a dude that was there said, man, you're the lucky one that's here on earth. It was, you're the lucky one. You're the one that made it to life. You fought. Your little fishy, your little sperm fought to the egg. You got here. So everybody's a warrior, man. They just don't know. It's just too bad society now has gotten super soft. I'm a little bit older than you. So my era, we did everything by hand. We didn't have cell phones. We walked to each other's houses. We walked a lot. We didn't have overweight kids, man. That was rare. You see 1 in 1,000 overweight kids. Most of us were skinny kids. Why? Because we walked everywhere. We did things with our hands. We had to use our brain. Now, everything's iPad, cell phone, everything's easy. My mommy's going to drive me to my friend's house, drive me up to school. No, you walked. There was no fucking there was no rides to school. You catch the public transportation, you walk. A lot of times I walk because I don't want to be on a crowded-ass bus. So it's just a different era, man.
Yeah, I mean, same for me. When I was growing up, it wasn't cell phones. You didn't know where, like, you go to your friend's house and you couldn't talk to each other until you got to the house because you're outside now. Your phone's inside, and you walk everywhere. We have bus passes, or we had the shuttle that we could catch for $0.25 or something like that. But we were in charge of moving ourselves around, and it wasn't just sitting around playing on phones or iPads or all day, like you said. And even when I was in school, there were like fat kids, but it was. They were like the fat kids, you know what I mean? It's like everyone noticed because they stood out. It's not like all the kids were fat like now, but so there were a couple of them, but that's it, because everyone else was doing stuff. Everybody else was walking around. Everybody was moving, and then especially when you start doing dumb shit, you have to keep yourself active to some degree because you try not to get arrested. You try not to get beat up if you're in the wrong area. You try not to get jumped by that car that stopped across the street. Yeah, man.
One thing I know me and you both have is the fight or flight. Many times, I remember we were walking through San Francisco, not too far from the Tenderloin. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Tenderloin, but it's fucking like Skid Row of San Francisco. It's a dangerous area. And some Cambodian Crips just jumped out on us. I don't know why. We was minding our business. Next you know, a bunch of them, 20 plus. I'm like, 5 of us, we ain't fighting these dudes. We're running. Gone. Lucky for me, I played basketball. I've been athletic. I've been a fast kid, but man, I'm out of there. I'm not going to try my ego and pride on these dudes. No, I'm gone, because those dudes, they carry guns and they'll shoot you. They come from a third world country. They're about that life. So we kind of knew that about them. And again, we weren't looking for trouble. They just, for whatever reason, hopped out on us. And it was that fight or flight. And I always knew, like, man, I knew when to fight and I knew when to flight. I knew when I got to go. I'm gone.
Yeah, I mean, it is like that though. You're not always looking for trouble. Sometimes people just hop out of a car and maybe they think you're somebody else. Maybe they think you're somewhere you shouldn't be, and you don't know. And you don't know who they are. But all you know is, they stopped their car real fast and they're hopping out of it. So we better either get the fuck out of here or we better respond accordingly. But
yeah, it's a trip how much like life in the streets teaches you. There's a lot of lessons you take from it. It ain't all bad. You look back, it teaches you. It games you. It teaches you instinct. You're on guard. Like I told my wife, every time I come out of the house, it's just instinct for me to look around. Just when I'm out in public, I'm just always looking around. I'm always watching and scanning everything, everyone.
What's crazy to me is I walk my dog in the morning. I talk whenever I do it, but I'm always looking around at the video. What's crazy to me is the amount of responses that I get to with why am I always looking around when I'm walking? Like, because I don't know what's going on here. You know what I mean? Like I need to be aware. But it's just crazy to me that a lot of people don't think like that, or people just walk around so obliviously. I see people walking up the street in the middle of the crowded street with their giant headphones on, listening to music with no idea what's going on around them. And that just, I could never do that. You know, you got to be, doesn't matter what area you're in, you just got to be aware of your surroundings. And like you said, that's something you learn coming from an area where you have to be aware of your surroundings.
I don't even look down on myself. I definitely don't wear these in public. Hell no. This is at the gym only. I don't wear these out in public when I'm walking my dog. I have the little AirPods, but I also have it on transparency so I can hear the noises, and I'm not looking down at my phone. Even though I get tempted, I'm like, nah, I'm always just watching. It ain't because I'm scared or nervous. It's just because I want to be aware. It's a situational awareness because you never know what can happen. There's a lot of crazy-ass people. I have a, you could say, expensive dog, a French bulldog, which are highly sought after. People.
Oh, man, people with the dogs, yep.
So, you know what I'm saying? So dudes are jumping out on cars and not putting guns in your head and robbing you for Frenchies. So I'm aware of that. You know, my area is not, it ain't the baddest, but it's a little bit outskirts of the hood. You know, you still got to be careful. No matter what. It doesn't matter where you're at, whether it's a bad or not. People hop on you anywhere these days.
Yeah, I mean, it's, and not even just that, like, people can't drive, like, you have no idea what it is that's going on, so it's just some things you got to be aware of. Like, I was out this morning walking, and I found out it was an Amazon delivery driver, but he's speeding up the street in an old car. I live in a nice neighborhood, so you really see a lot of old cars, and they just stopped right beside me, so I'm like, okay, cool, what's going on? It was an Amazon driver, but, again, it's just some things you got to be aware of, you know? You never know where something's going to go.
No, you don't. It's just, we're in some crazy times. So let me ask you, let me rewind a little bit. So when you decided to hire Wes for your personal development business coaching, how was that? What made you really pull the trigger? You just like everything, you wanted to change, you wanted to try something new. What really was it?
Yeah, so I wanted to really do something, and there have been several times in my life where I had wanted the opportunity, and I came across the opportunity, or I put myself in a position to have that opportunity, and when the time came to actually do it and take the risk, I backed out because I just didn't want to roll the dice on myself, and I thought, at some point, like I've been playing relatively safe-ish this whole time. So at some point you just really got to, if you really want to do something, if you really want to go after what it is that you want, at some point you just have to roll the dice. You just have to say fuck it and pull the trigger. So I was like, he's talking about this resonates with me. I want to do this. So fuck it. I'm doing it.
Yeah. You know what we call those people? The let me think about it people. The players say, let me think about it. Knowing they need it, knowing you need coaching. Because I always say this, listen, you're gonna need to hire a coach. Because either you're going to hire me and spend a few $1,000s, or you're going to not hire, but you're going to have to pay for doctors, hospitals, and pharmaceuticals, and everything in between insurance companies for expensive as hospitals when you get sick or something bad happens, you break a leg or anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Like you're going to pay one or the other. So I tell people, choose wisely. Take your choice. Take your pick.
Yeah, 1,000%. And now, like, everything that you do when you're younger is preventative for things when you're getting older. Like, a lot of people don't realize, like, every choice that you make has a cost. And when you want to sit around and be lazy and do nothing and just eat a bunch of food right now, like, it feels great in the moment. It's enjoyable in the moment. Sure, yeah, it's fun to eat McDonald's and watch TV. It's relaxing and it tastes good. But down the road, you're going to pay for that. And yes, right now, it might not be as fun for you to go to the gym and, you know, eat chicken and rice or whatever the fuck it is and track your macros and say no to things and not drink. But down the road, you're going to be very happy that that's how you were living your life when you're younger, because you see a lot of the old people walking around hunched over and stuff. They can't even stand up straight. And I tell people all the time, that's not just from being alive for a long time. That's from how they've lived their life. If you're not living right in your younger years, that's just going to catch up to you when you're older. And that's why all of these people are walking around fucked up, because you see people like Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, 80 years old and still jacked, still mobile, still doing stuff because they took care of themselves when they were younger. It's an investment.
That's so true. And a lot of people go, they did steroids. Okay, they did do that. But did steroids get them to the gym? Did steroids get them eating good? Did steroids push discipline? No, that comes from within. The steroids is just a tool to help you out to recovery. It's not going to do everything else. And I know people love to blame people on TRT, or it's this and that. No. At the end of the day, TRT does not do that. It does not stop you from going through the drive-thru. It does not stop you from being lazy. It doesn't do none of that. It's an aid. It's just an aid. That's all it is.
Yeah, people think it's magic because people think there's a cheat code to everything, but like it's not. You're not just taking steroids and all of a sudden you are jacked. You still have to go and lift the weights. You still have to go eat the food. You still have to track your macros and, you know, count your protein and all of that stuff. You still have to say no to just overeating and binge eating whatever it is that you want to. It's not like because you're on steroids you get a free pass to eat all of the food that you want. At least I don't think, anyway.
Nope. Even bodybuilders who are on everything under the sun, including growth hormone, which is supposed to keep you lean, even those guys got to watch it. Even on the off season when they eat, they still got to be careful they don't bulk up too much, basically getting too fat. Because I come from that era where like it's bulking season, bulking. You hear that a lot from the 90s, 2000s, but 90s. It's not bulking, it's you're getting fat, bro. There's no such thing as bulking. You can do a reverse diet where you bump your calories, your macros up carefully, bump your proteins up, and put on some muscle accordingly, right? But bulking ain't just loosely eating, throwing everything in your fucking mouth and thinking I'm getting jacked and bulk. Yeah, your gut's
Yeah, it's
getting
the dirty bulk where you just eat whatever it is that you want. They call it.
Yeah, I did that. I'm guilty of that, man. I fell victim to that because I looked up to the bodybuilders and I'd get their advice and they, because they're jacked to look a certain way, you think like they're the end all be all, but no, man, they're bro science. That's what we call a lot of the stuff that I learned in the 90s. Bro science, it sucks. It's all junk science. You look back at it now, like man, it's all being debunked. My wife and I debunked many stuff on our podcast. We're both NASM certified trainers. We follow BioLane, Huberman, just a lot of stuff. We do a lot of research. We do our homework, and a lot of it's junk. A lot of it's just BS. I'll tell you one. You probably heard this too. You can't ingest more than 25, 30 grams of protein. The body can't die. The lie detector detected that's a lie, motherfucker. I do like 80, 90 grams. Anybody watches my stories? My breakfast was almost 90 grams this morning, bro.
That's yeah, the idea behind it doesn't even make any sense and I've had people tell me that too. It's like, well, you can only digest 25 grams of protein. Like, okay, cool, but what if you weigh more? What if you weigh less? Like, there's absolutely no way that could blanketly be a fact. And it's not at all. Like, you see the people who are doing intermittent fasting, eating 100 grams of protein at a time, and look at them. Look at this dude. He's jacked as shit. He's lean as fuck. Either he only needs 25 grams of protein, or that's not true.
Yeah, and I am one of those people I've done intermittent fasting quite a few times.
Same here.
I just came off a 36-hour fast. We're going to do it on a weekly basis. Just not because a lot of people think it's for weight loss. It does aid if you play it right, but really it's just the adversity part of it. I like what Guerrero told me. And I've been living by his two words that stuck with me. You must inflict adversity. So I do cold showers a day, adversity. I train hard, adversity. I train when I don't want to train, adversity. I get up at 4 a.m. when I don't want to, adversity. So that's like embedded in me. I'm a tattooist somewhere in me. Hopefully I got room somewhere, but I love that. Like, we must inflict adversity. We're too fucking soft.
Yeah.
We're way too soft and easy on ourselves.
Yeah, I fast too every Sunday. Well, I'm not doing that right now. I'm doing Ramadan parameters, which is no food sun up to sundown for a month straight. I'm not Muslim. I just wanted to do it to be able to challenge myself.
Sun up, sundown. Sun up, sundown, no food.
Yeah, no food or water.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a dry fast.
No
that was different.
That's a little different beast. Ooh.
Yeah, the water made it hard because before every Sunday I would fast from the last time I ate Saturday till sometime Monday I would eat food, but not because I'm trying to get lean or not because of anything other than the fact that it's difficult and it's good for my mind to be able to deny myself something for an entire day, to have a house full of food and just decide I'm not going to eat it. So that does something for you that a lot of people don't realize, just like you said with the cold showers. Or I get up every single day, 3:57. I very rarely do I want to get up. I get out of bed anyway. So I start my day off having done something difficult, having done something unpleasant. The very first thing I did was conquer some shit. So it sets you up for the rest of the day.
That's so true. Today, my sleep has been a little off lately. You know, you get older, you deal with sleep issues. I can go to sleep easy. I can't stay asleep. Unfortunately, that old man bladder wakes me up many times during the night. It messes my sleep up. And then this crazy ass brain of mine, sometimes I wake up and start thinking about things I shouldn't be thinking about that don't matter. And sometimes I have a hard time going to sleep. But today I was like, nah, I got to get up, man. I got to get back to my 4 a.m. I started slipping again and getting like 5:30. Like, nah, I got to do 4, man. Because I was doing that with no problem before. So I got to get back to that. Like you said, you got to do it when you don't want to. The hard thing.
Yeah, that's what people don't get. The only time it really counts is when you don't want to do it. Like, it's very easy to go to the gym if you're having fun every day, but you're not going to have fun every day. Most of the time, you're not going to want to be there. Most of the time I'm in the gym, I would rather be doing something else. Most of the time on the way to the gym, I'm like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to fucking do this workout, but I do it anyway because it works the same. Like, you don't need to be motivated to do it. You just need to fucking do it.
Yeah, that's crazy you said that because last week it was like that for me. I didn't want to. Certain days I didn't want to train, but I tell myself, just tell yourself, Mike, how good you're going to feel and how accomplished after you do that workout. I've been training Muay Thai and boxing for a long time, and that's one of my loves. I love hitting the bag, crushing the bag, kicking it, because I know how good it feels. And sometimes I'm lazy. I don't want to do it, but I tell myself, do it, dude, because all you need is a couple of rounds. Once you start breaking that beat of sweat, warm up, it's on. Then you really start getting the happy gene, I call it. The happy comes out like, yes, I'm in the right place. I'm glad I came. And then when you're done, you feel accomplished. Like, I'm glad I did this, because there's a man, we just said the word. Something about Huberman talked about. He's talking with Goggins. It's like the adrenal-frontal cortex. It's like building your willpower. He was telling Goggins this. He was so excited, like kind of like a new discovery, saying why people like Goggins and other people in the industry have so much willpower to say no to things, adhere to a diet, train every day. Like, they have this willpower, and why obese people don't, because they don't train that muscle. They give into everything. The minute they're hungry, I'm hungry, I got to eat, and they stuff their face. They can't say no.
Yeah, and that's what I say all of the time. Like, all of these things that you have are trained. Like, I cannot eat for a full day or longer because I'm used to doing it. But like the first time I did it, it was hard. But the problem is, people get to something hard, they immediately want to run from it. Like, they're like, oh, well, I'm hungry now, so I must not be able to fast. Like, no, you're going to be hungry. Or I used to have a problem getting up early in the morning. Like, I always said I wanted to get up at like 5 a.m. and I would wake up, or my alarm would go off, and I would still be tired. So I'm like, oh, well, I guess today's not the day. And I just go back to sleep, because I thought that I had to not be tired in order to wake up. But once you get past that and realize that you could just do it anyway, and you just start getting it done. Yes. But the more that you do it, the easier it becomes to do. So like, I don't want to get up at 4 a.m. It's not pleasant, but it's easier for me to do because I've been doing it every single day. So you get used to the thing. Same thing with saying no. You get used to saying no, just like you get used to saying yes. It's the same way that you form an addiction. You form an addiction by continuously doing the thing, and then you want to do the thing, and then you do it, and all you're doing is strengthening that loop. It's the same thing in the opposite direction. So just as it took the time to get fat, it took the time to build up your appetite to where you can eat 12,000 calories. It'll take the time to reverse it too, but it's just as reversible as it was buildable.
Yeah, no, you're right. I like how you said that. There's another gym that I took from Wes a while back. He said on a podcast, he said, addicts are the most successful people on earth. And I was like, the fuck is this dude talking about? What? He's crazy. And the way he explained it was because addicts will go to the end of the earth. Doesn't matter what they got. They'll go through the hell, through fire to get that fix. Doesn't matter. They don't care if it costs them their life. They're going to get their fix. But you flip that in the other direction of success, they'll do the same. I'm like, damn, that hit. I was like, that was deep. This dude's pretty gamed up, man. I got to give it to him. A lot of the books he read, whatever he's in prison, he gamed himself up. I like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, 1,000%. And that's a fact though, because you see crackheads all the time out on the street. They don't have homes, They don't have clean clothes, but they got crack, and no one is giving them that crack for free. They are getting it in exchange for money, and they are doing what it takes to get the money. They don't have a job, but they find a way to get that money, and that is that mentality that you could take over the world with if you apply it to the right shit.
That's true. That's true. And sometimes I have to remind myself that. Sometimes I have fear, I have doubt. You know, my mind plays tricks on me. I've had some mental health issues that I've dealt with. And sometimes that imposter syndrome kicks in. I'm sure a lot of us get it. Even Joe Rogan talks about it. But then I remind myself, like, I've been through some hardship in life. I've been through adversity. I lost my freedom. I kept a G. I did my time with honor. There was no telling, you know what I'm saying? I kept it solid. So I got to remind myself, I've been tested through life, and I passed every single one of them. Has it been easy? Fuck no, but I did it. I took it on the chin, did it. I got recently hit with a stroke a little bit over 2 months ago, knocked down. I was scared, in fear. I didn't know if I was going to be normal after, what was going to happen, but I told myself, all right, Mike, you talk about all this mindset shit. Now, here's a test for you. Let's see what you got. So that's another little obstacle I had to conquer. It's like, man, it's one thing after the next, and that's what levels us up, though, man, is just conquering those adversities.
Yeah, you need all of those things, because it's very easy to say you're a positive person when everything is going well, but you're not truly a positive person until the most fucked up shit happens and you stay positive through it. And you're like, okay, I'm going to find the good in this. And anything other than that doesn't really count. So you're not strong-minded if there's an exception to it. Like, you need the challenges, and you need the adversity, and you need the tests to see how strong your mind truly is. And if it's not that strong, then that's the opportunity that you have right there to strengthen it, because all that did was expose your weaknesses. But that gives you a chance to strengthen those weaknesses.
Yeah, because like you said, when everything's going good, that's easy. When things go bad, that's when you really get tested. Like, all right, let's see what you're made of. And nobody's had a easy, streamlined road to good life everywhere. Nah, we've all had bumps. Everyone had that personal problems. We've all gone through adversity in one way or another. That's when you really find out what you're made of. And that's what I tell people. Like, you need to find out what you're made of, man. You need to stop fucking comforting yourself. You need to stop hitting that bottle and think, I need my drink because it's my fix. Oh, I need my weed. I come from both. I'm an addict, man. I was addicted to weed and pills, and I drank here and there, but when I partied, I partied. When I used to go in all the way and pop bottles, I went all the way. There was no stopping me. We're going all night to the next day. So I was that kind of person. But now it's like, I know I don't need that. Looking back, like, I don't need none of that. I just need, like you said, I just need health and happiness in my gym, and I'm good. I don't need none of the other devices. And I'm trying to tell people that, as you are, I see what you're telling. You don't need that in life. You don't need that to live with.
Yeah, and especially like the weed is such a big thing because that's the one that most people have a issue admitting is a problem, and it's when you're high and when you're smoking, it's easy to say like, yeah, this is good for me. This is different. This is different than alcohol. This is different than other drugs, but it's not. It's not until you stop that you see how clouded your mind was from it and how differently you see things and how much clearer you think and how much better you speak and how much more energy that you have and how much more smoothly you move throughout the world. People can say whatever they want to. Yeah, sure, it's natural, but it's also a depressant. So poison ivy is natural too, and that's not good for you. So just because it comes from the earth, that doesn't mean anything.
That's so true. That's so true. A lot of drugs come from the earth. Cocaine comes from
Cocaine
the
is a plant.
Opium comes from the poppy plant.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Everything comes from a plant. It's just what you do with it. Like you said, poison ivy is natural, but get it all over your body, see what happens.
Yeah. It being natural doesn't mean something. That's just people's go-to defense. Well, it's from the earth. Okay, so what? So are rattlesnakes. But you don't want to be around them. Like, just because they're natural and organic, it doesn't make it good for you.
Yeah, exactly. Go jump in the ocean where the great whites are. They're natural.
Yeah, see what the sharks are. It's natural. Like,
cut yourself a little bit, jump in the ocean, let that blood go on. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, see how that goes. You know, go through Florida and don't pay attention and go find the alligators and see how good those natural creatures are for you.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. So when you got on the coaching, how did it go for you as far as like when you decided to pull the trigger and you started doing the coaching? Did you grasp it real easy? Was it hard? Was it a hard transition for you?
It wasn't terrible. I think it took me a while to build up just because I came on, like, I started my Instagram when I started doing the coaching. So July 31st of last year was my very, very first post. So I had 10 followers, but they were random bots or people that I met that were also on Wes's program. It wasn't like an actual following of some sort. So that was probably the biggest hurdle for me, is trying to build up from there from absolutely nothing. But as far as the actual program, he gave me a very straightforward blueprint of the things to do, and I followed it.
Yeah. And how long after you completed the program, when did you say it started taking off for you? Because I feel like you got some traction. I've watched your page grow, and I'm like, this dude's good. You're a good talker. You're natural.
I appreciate it. I say the most traction that I've really gotten is starting the beginning of this year.
Okay.
Is when things have really started to explode. I've made the most money I had this year so far, and I mean, I started making money end of last year, maybe November, late October. November is when I started making some money, but started making real money was this year. When I started getting real attention and eyes on me was beginning of this year.
Okay, so how's that been going for you, the coaching side of it?
It's been good. The coaching has been great. I have great experiences with some great people. The online stuff has been good too. It's an adjustment for me. I'm not used to it. I spent most of my life not online and trying to avoid all of that. So being more public is a very new thing to me. So I'm still getting used to that, but it's been good.
That's good, man. Yeah, you came on fire, man, for only being on social media, not very long. You got a good thing going. I can see you rolling, man, and I can see a lot of people resonating with your message because you keep it real. You speak the truth. Like I remember one you were saying, it reminded me like, oh, you think you're cool going to the club, chasing girls and drinking? And you're like, I don't got to be that guy. And like, you're right. I used to be that guy. I call myself the bottle popping king of Vegas. I knew everybody in the industry. I had an apartment out there for 2.5 years. I was a wild dude, man. I'd go 3 days straight, day and night, pool party, nightclub, pool party, nightclub. Looking back, like, I'm lucky to be alive, man, and it took me a while to wake the fuck up. And I know what you're trying to do, wake these people up, because you don't need that in your life. You're only going to destroy yourself.
Yeah, you don't. And at a certain point, you'll get to the point where you realize that it's just empty, and all you're doing is escaping from your reality that you're currently living. And you get drunk, you get high, whatever it is the case may be, but you wouldn't need to be drunk or be high if you were good with who it is that you were. Like, those are just distractions from whatever your actual problems is. Once you take the time to solve those, you will realize how unnecessary the rest of that shit is. And
I like that. It's so true that the message was spreading about personal development, how important it is. It's not just aesthetics, man, but it's finding out who you truly are. But you won't truly find out who you are till you get rid of all the other bullshit clown in your mind. You're never gonna know. You got beer, you got alcohol going to your brain. You got weed going to your brain. Maybe your vice is pills. Who knows what other drugs you're into? You're never gonna know who you are till all that is gone, till the cloud is gone over your head.
Yeah, you have all these mind-altering substances in you, and it just clouds who it is that you are, and you never get a chance to figure out where you truly are in life and what it is that you really need to work on, because you just have all these unearned good feelings because you're sad about something, so you get drunk and you distract yourself from it. So now the thing that is making you sad is still there, but you're drunk, so you don't give a fuck, or you're high, so you don't care. And you're really shortchanging yourself when you do that. You kind of just try to blanket all, or Band-Aid all of these things as opposed to actually fixing them.
Yeah. And you get a lot of hatred coming your way from speaking all these messages? Do you get a lot of hatred trolls?
Oh man, people get
DMs
people get mad at the
or messages.
Huh?
Do you get it on the DMs or do you get it on your feed?
I get comments and I get DMs. People DM me weird shit. But
Wow.
I get a lot of the thing that upset people the most is strange to me is whenever I say alcohol is bad. That's what people get the most upset by. Or the other thing that you were talking about when I said I don't drink and I don't do drugs and I don't go to the club. A bunch of people got mad at that. And if you actually watched the video, I didn't really say it was bad. I just said I don't fucking do it. But people got very upset by that. But they should. My perspective is if it upsets you, then you know that you're living your life incorrectly, because why else are you mad that I don't do the things that you do? Like, I don't care if people sit around and watch Star Wars and play video games. I don't do them, but I don't give a fuck if you do that, because I'm not offended that I don't do it. So you're only mad that I don't do these things because you deep down, you know that you shouldn't be doing those things.
And it's funny. It's like they want to pull you down to their frequency. When people, they get uncomfortable. And I know you've probably gone through this with your clients where you probably had some clients on the heavier side. You got to warn them, like, hey, you're going to make some people feel uncomfortable. They're going to come out with, oh, you're getting too skinny. Oh, don't work out too much. Oh, maybe you should slow down. It can't be that good for your health working out. Just everything under the sun. There are 10 reasons why they shouldn't be doing what they're doing. But in all reality, you're just bothered because you're not doing it, because you don't have the discipline or the mindset, because you're still sleeping. So you want to pull them down to your frequency. Call them crabs in a bucket. They want to pull you back down into the bucket.
1000%. People hate seeing people getting better when they themselves are not trying to get better, because as they see these people go up, it just reminds them how low down that they are. So they do everything, and it's fucked up too, because a lot of it's under the guise of friendship. Like, oh, you looked better when you were doing this way, or are you sure that's good for you, or that's too extreme, or you've earned this drink, or you've earned this food, or you don't have to be so extreme with it. And it all sounds like it's well-meaning and whatnot, but it's just them trying to sabotage you.
Yeah, you're right. And I made a post about that. Like, listen, you better look at your circle of friends and family. If they're not supportive of your journey, if they're trying to like derail you, like, let's go to the bar and drink, or let's go to this restaurant and have drinks first, or let's go here, they don't have your best interest. You might have to make a choice to start cut that out of your loop, because you got to remember, they're not on your same path. It's like, and not that it's the same thing, it's a little off topic. It's like crazy psycho-religious people who I'm not a religious dude, so they try to preach it till I'm red in the face. Like, listen, man, do you? I'm not hating on it. Do you? If that's what makes you happy. You believe in God and Jesus is risen. That's good, man. That's you. I'm not telling you not to, but same time, don't push it onto me, man. I have my own beliefs, you know?
Yeah, in all honesty, I think people's insistence on pushing their beliefs onto you is a form of insecurity in their own beliefs, because they're not comfortable with just themselves believing it. They need you to believe it too, because they need you to validate that what they believe is true by accepting it. And that's why, because a lot of people don't really have their own thoughts with things, and that's why they get so mad when they hear a different viewpoint. Like, people get mad because I say things that some people feel like are not true, and they get so mad about it because they don't really know why they think it's true. They just think that it's true. But the fact that I've challenged it has now challenged their worldview, and they don't know how to combat that because they don't know how they came to have that view in the first place. Like, they think alcohol is good. I said it's not. They don't know why they think it's good. They just know that they think it's good. But I said it's not, and that's a challenge to them, and they don't know what to do with it because they don't know how they came to think that it's good.
Well, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. If you turn on the TV, it's celebrated so much. You got that guy, the most coolest man on earth. I can't remember that commercial. Alcohol.
Oh, the Dos Equis, the most interesting man in the world.
That dude. You got that. You
Yep.
got. Sometimes I watch certain series when I have time, and it's nothing but drinking and smoking. I was watching
All
this
day.
series, Peaky Blinders. All those English dudes do is smoke cigarettes and drink.
All
That's
day.
You want more whiskey? You want more whiskey? Any show that we're watching, my wife watches those reality housewife shows. All those ladies do is drink, 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 and everything. They celebrate every fucking thing on earth. They're celebrating for no reason. They just celebrate to celebrate. It's like, dude, they think that's just the end all be all. And when you don't celebrate with them, oh, you're not cool. Oh, you're not with us. Oh, you're against. No, I'm not telling you. Do you? Do you?
Yeah,
I'm
do
not
your
telling
thing.
you. Don't do me though. You don't have to worry about doing me. Do you? Because this is what I say. At the end of the day, those people show you love and support when you're in the hospital dying and your liver's failing, and they'll say, "I'm sorry. I should have listened more. I should have been support." Oh, now you're sorry. Now that I'm dying, you're sorry. Oh, Mike was a good dude, but he's under the ground now. Oh, now you care. You know what I'm saying? It's so society's so twisted, man. It's crazy, bro. It blows my mind away. You know, it's a battle we got. We got a big battle ahead of us. You know?
1000% it's so prevalent, like you said, and people don't even know why. Like if you have something bad that happens to you, then you're told that the answer is to drink. Or if something good happens to you, you're supposed to drink. You get engaged, you're supposed to drink. You break up, you drink. You're having a new baby, drink. Someone died, drink. It's wild, and people just go along with it. Nobody questions it, and they think because everybody does it that it's okay.
Yeah, we got to keep preaching the message again. If they want to stay doing that, cool. But we're going to keep preaching our message. And we can break it down scientifically why it's bad for you. We can go ask medical doctors why it's bad for you. It's toxins. There's a reason why you're hungover and you feel like that dude Cody. I don't know if you know him. He's one of our guys who's on our messaging, on our DMs. One of Kyle's guys that introduced me to. He said it.
Trap King?
Yeah, there you go. Trap King. He said it best.
Yeah, I love him. Great dude.
A hangover feels like you got shot in the head, but you're alive. And you shouldn't be like, oh, I never thought about it because your head hurts so. I'm talking about a severe hangover where you drank yourself into the mud and you're trying to get out of the mud and you just feel disheveled. Like, why did I do this to myself? It's the most horrendous feeling. I've done that to myself many times, and I don't want that feeling ever again.
Yeah, and it's wild that all of the being drunk feelings is just your brain shutting down to trying to get you to stop. When your speech starts to slur, your vision gets bad, you can't stand up straight anymore. It's just your brain trying to stop you from continuing to do it. And then you wake up the next day and you feel like shit and you swear you're never going to do it again. And then a few hours later you feel okay and then you go do it again. It's the most ass backward thing ever. But that's just so commonplace. Like people joke about the terrible hangovers that they had. I was in downtown Phoenix a few weeks ago, and midday it was three dudes. One of them was walking up the street drunk, and one of them was throwing up in a bush, and his friend was recording it, and they were all sitting there laughing. Like, what is wrong with you people? Like you're killing yourselves in the middle of the day, and this is entertaining to you.
It is. It's sad. It's sad. Like you should be in the gym in the middle of the day, but you're killing yourself. You think it's cool and funny. You're posting because you're going to go online to get your views and clicks or whatever for posting that video. Think it's funny, but you're really making fun of your own friend. It's like, man, instead of lifting them up, like, all right, man, maybe it's time we slow this shit down. But nope. It's like the Three Stooges, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Poking each other's in the eyes and laughing about it, not realize you're all a bunch of idiots.
Yeah. Well, my brother, it's been good talking to you, man. We can go on forever, but I know you got some things to do. I got some things to do, and appreciate you coming on the podcast again. Do me a favor. I'll put it up, but shoot him your handle again. Yeah,
absolutely. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the Jason Lamar.
Okay, my brother. And I'll keep in touch, and we'll talk soon. Thank you for coming on again.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you having me. It's been great.
Much love and appreciated. Thank you.
You as well.